Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm also the guy that sent you the cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's rigged for animation. I don't know if you read that part.
We did. We did.
Yeah.
It's animated to flip off the camera.
Oh, yeah, you did see the
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. But yeah, be glad if you once you settle your background, I'll be glad to do you an intro.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we kind
You
of...
guys come sliding in from each side with pens and pads flying everywhere, and they all settle, something like that.
I know that right
But,
now we're super in love with the intro that we went out and filmed, but I know if given time...
We have a personal attachment to it. Yeah, I don't have a problem with us every now and then or every other show having like a...
Changing it up?
Changing a background, adding a thing.
Yeah. But we...
In part because I think it's cool that there's a community of people that are creating art that's related to me talking about stuff.
Us talking about stuff.
Not self-absorbed at all.
What did you want to talk to us about today?
Well, you could limit it to just after the show and put it on put it in front of your YouTube, whatever you wanted to do with it, you know.
Sure.
Or our Facebook
also,
page, Talk Heathen.
I spoke to Jamie last week on the Atheist Experience. He was called screaming. And I'm that Philip, too.
You are all the Phillips.
I'd like to tell you quickly why I became an atheist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after 40 years, I call it 40 years in the wilderness now, but after 40 years, I was backing out of a parking space at church, heading to the end of the parking lot, small church, and I know the difference between a voice and an epiphany, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just came to me, but it came to me in this form, which was a bit odd. And it said, if I am the only way, the only truth, and the only life, why do you even consider the books or the writings beyond what I gave you? Did I not give you enough to secure salvation? Well, I think any Christian would say he did. So I went from that point, I never went back to church. I took a Bible, I cut away the books from Acts of Revelation, and separated the Old Testament as reference, and studied what Christianity would be like if they followed only Jesus, which makes perfect sense to me. But it wouldn't survive because a Christian nation couldn't exist without an army to defend it, and Jesus wouldn't have anything like that I could see. They'd have no monetary system. And anyway, that just began the deconstruction.
Yeah.
And I found out ways to go from within and show a believer, well, this is something else you believe and you read, like they read other books, like Fox's Book of Martyrs, the homilies, which is the stories. I don't know if you're familiar with those or not. And, you can find things in there to deconstruct it completely. I mean, it took me 7 years, never wanting to give up that faith, never wanting to believe any different because it started when I was 5 years old. And I think
indoctrination, they really start you off young and don't let go of you
and
ever.
who are you going to trust? Who are you going to trust but the ones that your parents, and, they were taken in too. I don't blame them.
I actually want to...
generations of victimization.
Get in on the... I'm sorry, we just got a note. I actually want to get in on the voice that you heard, because that's really interesting to me. It's often said, you can come to the right conclusion for the wrong reasons, right?
Right. It was as if Jesus was telling me that, and I know it was my own voice, it was my own conscience. Yeah, consciousness. I was not in any way considering it a voice. That's why I said I know the difference between a voice and an epiphany.
Absolutely.
An epiphany is just a sudden realization of the truth, and that's what it was to me. And it tore it all down and ended with, I love you, but if you don't love me back, I have to torture you forever. And I'm thinking, I can't buy into that anymore. No. That's just crazy. How is that love?
Yeah.
And how is that unconditional love like they say he's got? That's a condition.
It is. There's a joke that goes that a missionary is talking to an Eskimo, and the Eskimo says, oh, well, so now that I know about Jesus, if I don't follow these rules, then I go to hell. Yeah. But if you hadn't come over here and told me about this, I would have gotten into heaven no matter what. Oh, yeah. Why the fuck did you tell me?
Yeah, that one got me too when I first heard that. Yeah, that was, And, and then I think more recently, I started out and, I was raised to believe Madeline Murray O'Hare was the devil, and you heard that in church all the time. I think she was gruff, and I think she was sarcastic, and I think she might have been an embezzler for all I know. But that doesn't mean anything else. That doesn't mean there's a God,
Yeah.
And then but my first encounter with an atheist channel on YouTube was an aggressive atheist, and I mean horribly aggressive, and that turned me off completely. The next one was nearly as aggressive, and then I just gave up on looking at atheist YouTube videos until I ran across the Atheist Experience. And that was after several months of gap, and I didn't stop my atheism, but it kind of held up on me probably coming out, which, it took 2 years after that 7 to come out. It's been 9 years since this all started. Oh, and I just came out a few weeks ago.
Hey,
congratulations. I didn't really have any family left to worry about. They've all passed on. I'm only 54, and they were croaking early, And I'm told I'm dying, but I don't care. I'm enjoying while I'm here,
That's the best we can do, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... welcome to the side. Glad you're able to come out and share that story, man.
Welcome to freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is very freeing, and I don't think they understand that. How can it be free? They say they're free at last because of God. No, you just stepped into a voluntary slave trade.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. And the piece of it that I think we are highlighting the most is the community aspect of it, because a lot of people say, oh, well, churches have this community aspect that help others, and we're showing that doesn't need to be taken over by religious people. I mean, we should and are building community. And,
well, the Christians don't seem to realize that creating a theocracy in this country will do the same thing to us as it did to Rome and it did to Britain. It all eventually falls apart.
Yeah.
Everybody just splits.
It's sort of the United Kingdom doesn't have that kind of theocracy because they had multiple civil wars, not just between the Parliament and the King, but because Protestants and Catholics realized that they believed different things, and then they decided that they're going to kill each other.
I will say that Europe took back the power of the King that Rome did not seem to want to do. Of course, he took it back for his own purposes, but that was as long as he took it back to some degree. Yeah, I mean, I would love to live in a world that sounds like what Jesus would create by following him. Other than the threats, just care for one another. Not the silly stuff like don't care for anything. That's just silly.
Like, not the make no provision for tomorrow. I mean, really, that I don't think attributing that specifically to Jesus is particularly.
Well, no, I think that's Peter, actually.
I feel yeah, but also, most of it most of it's attributed to Paul if you include the pseudonymous gospel writings. Yeah.
I think even if they do they prove Paul exists or existed?
I think that Paul, I don't know. I don't know the history.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be, again,
that would be
it's sort of,
guess
it was there an apocalyptic rabbi running around in the first century, not really that extraordinary a claim. Could he turn water into wine and heal the deaf and the blind?
I think it's in Matthew, though, but I no longer fear a zombie apocalypse. It's already been and come and gone, way back.
Wasn't much of an apocalypse,
I know, it was kind of, nobody else seemed to care about it enough to write anything down.
No.
Well, I should let you guys go. We can discuss through Facebook if you want any kind of an animation, like I say.
Or you can email us.
Mail
at talkheathen.com.
You got it.
One of these days we're going to say it at the same time.
No worries.
And we're going to be like, we are Legion.
We got the art in the background again. All right, Philip, you take care, brother, and we'll hear from you soon, man. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, and thank you for the fan art.
Oh, no problem. You guys take care.
You too.
Thanks, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Before we move on to the next caller, I didn't get to say, we have a live studio audience!
Yeah! Hey, guys!
We're so excited about this.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
If you are in Austin and you want to come see us live, we are every Sunday from 11 to noon local time. And then feel free to drop by the Free Thought Library and come and see us.
And then after lunch, I think most Sundays generally, or, something about half of Sundays where you can stop in while we do Vern's boot camp, which is kind of like a call training, host practice for the Atheist experience, but it doesn't get broadcast. No. So you don't get to see it necessarily unless you're here or you're in one of our,
private groups. But
that's still developing.
Yeah.
The 1100 Club's still a thing, guys. It just takes a lot of time.
Sorry. It's not specifically Talk Heathen, but
it is ACA-sponsored content.
Yeah.